not just me, there are other fishermen experienced it. We've been fetching between our lines to change our baits and that, and we've actually had tampons and sanitary towels.
Blimey. When did that start? But I want to begin with this story. I want to begin with the story about the World Triathlon Series and the event in the Northeast this weekend that saw a significant number of contestants apparently contract illnesses, and many people understandably concluding that it's probably to do with the water. It is open to investigation, but testing by the Environment Agency on July the 26th, 3 days before the event, showed that there were 3,900 E. coli colonies. I'm going to do something that is probably ill-advised in a minute. I'm going to rely on a Twitter correspondent for expertise. There were 3,900 E. coli colonies per 100 milliliters of water, which is nearly 40 times higher than in June, the previous month. That's a bacterial infection that can cause diarrhoea, cramps and fever. And those are indeed, forgive me if you're having your brunch or your early 11s, those are indeed the conditions that seem to have struck down at least 57 competitors from the World Triathlon Championship Series. Now, a bloke has responded to this who is responsible for 3 public swimming pools in Spain. And he says that the permitted E. coli density cultured from the monthly sampling that he does is 0 per 100 millilitres. If it goes even up to 1 colony per 100 millilitres, he writes, we hyperchlorinate, close the pool and change the water. And this coastal water up in Sunderland, near Sunderland, had 3,900 E. coli colonies per 100 millilitres of water. That is, I mean, well, pretty grim. I don't think it's unique to the UK. I think there was an event in Paris that was curtailed because of the quality of the water in the Seine this weekend as well. So, we're not unique. We're not alone in having these conditions. But we did about a year ago. I don't know how bored you get when I share with you the machinations and the contemplations that I undergo every morning before I avail myself of the privilege of talking to you. But there are some stories that are stories but not phone-ins. And I as I get older, the longer I've been doing this job, I consider it to be it's a challenge, it's a duty almost, to turn the stories that aren't phone-ins into phone-ins. I want to find ways that with the climate, it's the most obvious way of doing it. Keeping climate change front and centre, keeping it in the heart of the conversation without being repetitious or sanctimonious or inviting weirdos shouting China onto the pro. That's the challenge, and I did the same with water. We can't disturb Fergal Sharkey's morning on a weekly basis. You know, the brilliance of his publicising and analysis of problems in our waterways is one of the main reasons I think why we're all so aware of it. But you can't start badgering him every 20 minutes because you've decided you're going to talk about filthy water again. It wouldn't be fair on him. Although last time we decided not to bother Fergal because we were having a conversation about the filth in our waters, he was actually listening and rang in anyway like a normal punter. So the best laid plans of mice and men. I think we happened upon a really good way of doing it a few months ago. It may even have been nearly a year. Was it even last summer? We just thought we'd ask what it's like now. So I'm not a surfer, you will be unsurprised to learn, although I did a little bit of bodyboarding in Sri Lanka once. I'm not a surfer. And this year we went to Greece for our summer holiday. I don't know why I'm boring you with the details of my seaside behaviour, but I've spent a lot of time in North Norfolk, but I'm not a big one for getting in the water if it's cold. I've got to be honest with you. So I don't really know. I did a little bit of wild swimming in the River Thames during lockdown, but we all did weird things during lockdown, didn't we? And that was an absolute joy. So I just want to know what's changed. So have a look at a broad period of time, a long period of time, which you have done, spending time in water in the United Kingdom, okay? So you might be a big swimmer, you might just do your summer holiday, your sandcastles and kiss me quick hats. You might be a surfer, you might do a little bit of paddle boarding, fishing, I guess. Well, you're unlikely to get sick fishing, unless you eat the fish, I suppose. But do you see what I mean? You have a relationship with the waters of these islands. And just mentioning that we are an island nation reminds us that in many ways water is more crucial to our national identity than it is to many other countries. So you personally, I'm talking to you now. Yes, you have a relationship with the waters, with the UK waters, whether it's waterways or coastal waters. Possibly your livelihood depends upon it. It may be that your job depends upon it. There's a little paddle boarding company near me that's brilliant, and you see them doing children's birthdays and things like that. And I think the River Brent is all right. People are going to send me statistics now saying whatever you do, don't get into the River Brent. But I think it's all right, and that's a lovely little addition to the local community. But what is the reality now of the release of raw sewage? Okay, what do you know to be the case? Because your relationship with the water is changing. Okay, if you hit the numbers now, you will get through. 0345 6060 973 is the number you need. Because although British Triathlon insist that the test results that I cited a moment ago were from outside the area of water where the race took place, and that its own testing had passed the required standards for the event, you see a headline, triathletes fall sick after sea swimming. And given the direction of traffic in this country over the last couple of years, you think inevitably, I wonder what they've been swimming through. They've been swimming through shocking amounts of sewage. That's one for the bingo card, isn't it? I do it on purpose. I start making you think I'm going to say a naughty word, and then I don't. I say shocking amounts of sewage. Have to be on my toes for that. Have to be concentrating. But you can't look me in the eye and tell me that you hear a story about essentially a swimming competition in the sea off Sunderland, and 57 competitors at least are struck down with some pretty grim health conditions. And it was at Roker. We have Whitburn North Bathing Water. The local water company, Northumbrian Water, insists that they haven't done any discharges of their assets. But the reason why I'm suspicious of the testing is because, well, water moves, doesn't it? You don't need to be a physicist to understand that. But that's the background. And if it turns out that isn't the reason why all these lads got sick and all these ladies got sick, then that's fine. But it doesn't actually change the central thrust of my inquiry of you this morning, my question to you this morning, which is, what's going on? Now that we've had a little bit of summer, you might be over, actually, looking at some of the forecasts, but you got away during hot June. Kids broke up a couple of weeks ago. You've got to the seaside, or you're using the water in a way that you have traditionally done, and you've noticed a difference. You've noticed, what is it like? That's the question I've got for you. Because, well, it seems to me to be a fairly fundamental element of our lives, actually. The idea that 13 years of Conservative rule may have contributed to a massive deterioration in the simple quality of the water that is coursing through our towns or swilling around our coastlines it's absolutely shocking when you think about it. And yet here we are now, almost chalking it up as another one of those things that we talk about on a regular basis without any really meaningful prospect of significant change or improvement. So what we need to do today is just find out what is going on. If you have experience of this, if you have a relationship with the water, and you can actually help the rest of us come to a slightly clearer conclusion about how bad things really are, or indeed how bad things really aren't, then you are front of the queue this morning.
I quite regular fish on the River Mersey in Liverpool, just at the mouth of the Mersey,
yes.
Either on Liverpool side or over on the Wirral side.
Right.
Now, the water is quite murky there because it is a tidal river.
Yes.
I can imagine you get a lot of silt. But not just me, there has other fishermen experienced it. We've been fetching between our lines to change our dates and that, and we've actually had tampons and sanitary towels.
Blimey. When did that start?
I've been sea fishing. I started pre-COVID for about 12 months before COVID. And as you know, we all got locked down.
Yeah.
But as far back as that, since I've been sea fishing.
And when did
all the Mersey always has had a bit of a reputation, right? But not
that though. When did you start encountering sanitary products while fishing?
Since I've been sea fishing, really, in the past 4 to 5 years.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I know it's gone a lot worse to what it was. It was never like that at one point. It's always been a bit of a dirty and a murky river.
Of course, it's a big industrial. It's a port, isn't it? I mean, there's all sorts of...
Yes, of course. Like, you heard about chemicals going in the water years ago and stuff. But recently, sanitary sanitary towel, sanitary products you find in a lot, wrapped around your line.
And well, it is just incredible. We all just sit here talking about it. It's one of those phone-ins that the switchboard's got busier and busier and busier as it's gone on.